It's been a good switch. It's been fast, been a lot of fun. I've been impressed with the youngsters, just impressed with the vibe here, so to speak. So real excited to get on board, and as y'all can imagine, it's been a sprint.
After so many years at one school, what's the transition period like now going to another school? Maybe you didn't think you were going to need to do that opportunity.
Well, I've been blessed in the sense I've been in places where I've wanted to stay. For me, it's always been about, the neat thing about this is watching a rising senior that summer. A senior in high school comes in and he's here in summer school and his eyes like 50-cent pieces, and then you blink and all of a sudden they're graduating. And to me, that's what it's all about. Help them both, on and off the field, and really the neater thing has been maybe you go to their weddings. And I had a chance to go to a couple of weddings of players I had as freshmen. So that doesn't happen when you move around a lot. And I've been fortunate to work at some very, very good academic schools. I don't have to compromise anything that I believe in, and I've been blessed in that regard.
How did you plan on spending this fall?
I'm sorry, sir?
How did you plan on spending this fall? Did you have any coaching opportunities lined up?
I wasn't sure what I was going to do, quite honestly. I had some opportunities with some smaller schools there in the area. But when this came about, there were two members on the staff, Al Simonson and Tim Banks, who worked with me at the University of Maryland, and they texted me and said there's an opening here. And the offensive coordinator is a Delaware grad, and Coach Cubitt, and I'm from Delaware, and it's very kind of family oriented there. And so we knew of each other, and it ended up working well.
So many years at Maryland, now Maryland's in the Big Ten. Talk a little bit about that. With that.
Well, I was, when I was not retained at Maryland, it was sort of, I said to myself, Dad, I'm not going to have a chance to go back to the Big. And I really enjoyed my years in this conference. I mean, this is a conference. This is what it's all about in this conference. And so I'm gonna miss this opportunity, and God willing, if things all worked out, and I get a chance to come on back. Although I don't think we play the Terps until 2 years down the road. We play the other side, I guess, right now. So.
How'd you hear about the job here?
Coach Al Simonson, he just let me know. He texted me and said, we just lost our line coach. I'm a text coach. I'll give you a high recommendation. Would you be interested? And started making the phone calls. It's all phone calls and things like that is what you do. And it just meshed. It's to me, it's a good fit. And quite honestly, man, we all know it's a honeymoon period right now. We haven't given any sacks. Everybody's undefeated. Let's be real here now, okay? But I've been enjoying it, and of course, as I said, it's been a sprint.
For you, what's the biggest challenge in kind of getting here this late, a couple weeks till practice starts?
Well, the language, offensive line is communication and language. I think we all have common things. You're going to block a guy. Okay, well, what do you call that block? Okay, well, in this scheme it's this, in this scheme it's that. Well, what do they know? Okay, and so what I've tried to do is seen what they were taught in their calls and adapt what I have, rather than coming in and saying, no, guys, we're going to make these our calls. So communication is huge. But I think more important than that is just developing relationships with your players. I mean, I'm going to, in about 2 weeks, ask them to really press themselves, get outside their comfort zones, and be as best as they can possibly be. And there's got to be a sense of trust between each other, because they don't know me, I don't know them. So that's why the NCAA rule, I think, has really worked in our benefit. That I'm allowed to get on the field right now, so I get to know them a little bit and just see their work ethic a little bit, even though it's for a very small time, and just get them afterwards. It's interesting, two of the freshmen I knew from a previous time recruiting here, Nick Algaretti from Lincoln Way East, who I think has unbelievable potential, and Mikey Dudek from Neuqua Valley. We had dabbled in Chicago area while I was at Maryland 2 years ago, and I got to go around a little bit and met them, and so it was kind of interesting. Okay, full circle, here we go again.
What was the draw like to work with Bill Cubitt? I know obviously he's accomplished a lot in his time here.
Bill's a Delaware guy, and I don't know, not to sound corny here, but that offense, and that's very much of a family image out there, and so you're Delaware guys, and it's a lot of success and tradition, just like here at Illinois. And of course, I knew what Bill was all about. He played at Delaware. I knew what Bill valued, because you can't play there unless you have these certain values, in my opinion. And his success speaks for itself. I mean, you look at what they did going from point A to point B in his year last year. And when I interviewed, we watched film, and what I was really impressed was there were answers. Okay, defense does this, we do this. Defense does that, we do that. And that's one school of thought. Other schools of thought are you go in these up-tempo offenses, and they're just going to run the play. And they'll run so many plays, they will they will, if it's not the right look for the play, it doesn't matter. They're going to run so many plays, it's not going to matter. We're going to run 95 plays, I get 3 bad plays, big deal. Okay, and it's just different philosophies that people believe in.
What do you remember about coming to Champaign when you were at Northwestern?
Oh, trying to block Simeon Rice. We had Simeon Rice, and then we had who's the linebacker who's the head coach at Loyola Academy, John Holchek. I don't think we got hats on them the whole day, as a matter of fact. Quite honestly, the first year here at Northwestern, not to dig up old wounds here, we were not very good. But our biggest victory, I think, in '93 or '94, is we won a game down here where we should not have won. I think we were down 20-0, and we had no idea where they were coming from. It was Coach Tepper, I think, was here. And we made some adjustments, and they kept on blitzing, and now we picked them up, and I think we won the last play of the game. But there have been some outstanding ball games that I remember playing with them.
The offensive line's been a little inexperienced here and has struggled at times. And now with getting some guys in here, some younger guys now coming of age and making the jump from reserve to starting, what do you plan to do in terms of that once you hit the ground running?
Well, we have 4, I guess, who played last year a great deal. So it's not like that you're starting from scratch. I mean, they've all been in the fray, had the noses bloodied, and have experienced some success. They were all well coached. I mean, Coach Ricker did a nice job with them. I'm watching tape, and I'm, okay, good. So it's not that you're having to come in and start from foundation. What we've got to do is find a competitive 5, and then we've got to develop some depth. Okay, and you're returning senior, and you started. Yes, you should be the guy, but the best 5 will play. In that regard, and. You can't play with 5. You've got to have some depth in there because you're going to get nicked and bumped. You're not going 72 plays, 75 plays a game and not have an injury of some sort. So I think that's important.
When you were at Northwestern, were you recruiting the suburbs, a particular set of the suburbs?
The
city?
No, it's a good question. I had the northwestern part or northeastern part. So I had Libertyville, McHenry, Grays Lake, that county up there, and it was good football. We had 2 youngsters from Stevenson's. I remember. Faraji Leary and not the other Autry, Adrian Autry, and that's where I went back. Oddly enough, I came back here 2 years ago to recruit back there, and it was okay. We're here. And some of the coaches, I remember some of the coaches, so it's pretty easy in that regard. Out of state, I've recruited Georgia. I've recruited the Midwest when I was at Stanford. So I'm not really sure where I'm going to be out of state, but recruiting's about relationships and just starting that path.
Did you make calls already? Some of those offensive linemen.
It's interesting you say that. Coach Beckman hired me at 9:30 a.m. last Wednesday, and I talked to all of our commits by 5 p.m. that day. That's just what you do. It's just what you do, and you can tell by the lines of my face. I'm not a young guy, so I'm becoming more refined in Twitter, let's say, as we go, which is a necessity in recruiting, and we'll be fine there. We'll be fine.
Do you have a Twitter account at Maryland?
We have no, I didn't have one at Maryland, but I do have one here in Illinois. That's for sure.
How were the players as interviewers for you? That's a different thing. But these
No,
guys
they
have
were
been through
fine.
that.
I was just very honest with them. When I came in, I said, "This is my philosophy. This is what I believe in, and I'm not going to be Coach Ricker. I mean, I'm going to be who I am." It's unfortunate that he left, but life is all about changing how you deal with it. I mean, it's like on the football field, they changed the defense on you. Well, okay, they did. They can do that. Life's a bunch of curveballs thrown at you, and how you deal with it is how you succeed. So I just philosophy, expectations, what they could expect from me, and what I could expect from them. It's something that you would say probably on the first day that you might come into a meeting with your offensive line and kind of say, okay, this is who I am. And I'll let them ask questions, and they had a couple of questions, and we went from there.
From a pure football standpoint, where this program is headed, what made you feel like this was a good fit for you to succeed?
Quite honestly, this reminded me when I came in of like our 2nd or 3rd year at Northwestern. When we were building that program. I mean, that's the vibe that I got when I was here. You can see the players kind of buying into what Coach is all about. You can see where Coach has a vision. You can see we surrounded himself with a good staff, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It just takes some time, there. But it appeared to me that the foundation had been set, and I was pretty excited about it. Plus, I knew 3 of the people on staff. I like that. I like Coach when I spoke with him, and then Illinois is a great school. I mean, you should be able to recruit for this school. The education here is outstanding, plus the area. So all those things were very positive.
How's your family reacting to the new job?
There was, all the text and the Facebook comments and all that, social media 2014. I have 3 daughters. They're all on their own right now. My better half has done this a couple of times when I've moved, so she's doing that right now as we speak back in Maryland. So she'll be here soon enough, hopefully.
for guys who have been through 4 offensive line coaches in 4 years, is there anything you have to do, or is it?
No, I think it's just the other thing that I told him is he said I told them when the 4 seniors says I'm not leaving after a year. You're gonna have me here, and that's the first thing I said to him. And I'm not one to make promises or guarantees, but I think that's important. So if I'm Nick Algaretti and I've come here, I want to have the same face. When it's all said and done, I think that's important. You get to know them, they get to know you, your expectations, your goals, what you want to do. I mean, it's not, to me, it's not about jumping from place to place. As I said at the beginning, you come here, you establish yourself, you watch them grow. That's what it's all about, in my opinion.
I mean, you have stayed at places a long time. It's kind of unusual in the coaching.
It is. I mean, I was at William & Mary, I think, for 8. I was at Northwestern for 7. I would have stayed at Stanford, but it's just the cost of living out there is prohibitive. And I was at Maryland for 13, I guess. So I'm odd in that regard. And I'm happy I did it that way. And so is my family, because I was able to have my youngsters go and graduate and not be jumping all around from school A to school B. And we had some, very fond memories. I had a text from the center that I had at Northwestern. He says, "I'll be rooting for you hard, Coach, except for 1 game." So,
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks,
okay, good, man. Thanks. Okay,
Thanks,
look forward to
Coach.
seeing